Okay, so I have to do this in an American accent, which means I have to roll my R's and A's have to be pronounced not ah. Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, go. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in the proper coffee. Ah!
All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper coffee pot.
I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot.
Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me if I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper coffee pot. I'll have a cup of tea.
Okay, I'm gonna redo that.
I'd say around 20% of our clients are Indian, and that represents one of the 3 largest groups of students.
Then why people are maybe resorting to accent coaching for the sort of, for these personal reasons is really because we tend to associate accent with all of these other different types of qualities, right? So depending on how you sound, you might be perceived as unfriendly, or right, you might be perceived as maybe attractive or unattractive, trustworthy, untrustworthy, etc. Now, from a colonial perspective, right, colonizers believed that linguistic and racial deficiencies went hand in hand, right? But when you look at the training that they have to do to be a call center worker, for example, it's really about reinforcing how they don't quite match the so-called white mainstream English, which you would see in like a US or Canadian context, for example.
But just on a general level, sort of, like out in the streets or like talking to people, it's a little different. So, like for example, I say Pearl Street, right? But people don't get that, so I have to like roll my R's sometimes. So I have to make
I didn't
it sound
get that.
like, so it's like Pearl Street.
One of the main differences is timing. Most languages with Sanskrit origin are syllable timed. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look at each syllable as a basic unit, they're all going to be about the same length. So Indian English reflects that same structure. No matter how slowly or fast you speak, each syllable has the same relative length. So that produces a rhythm that's more like dot, 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 or if you speak fast, dot, 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 dot. On the other hand, with American English, it's fundamentally the opposite. American English is stress timed. That means we stretch the syllables that are stressed, that carry the stress. And we reduce the little ones in between. So that produces a different rhythm. Da, 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 da. And again, this happens regardless of how fast or slowly we speak. Now, let's put it into a word that you just said. Here. Here. That's it?
Here.
Here. So not here, but here. 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 And they find themselves in situations where they have to repeat themselves often, or they have to rephrase their sentences, or even speak in slow motion so as to be understood. And that's when they usually reach out to us for assistance. In India, English, most people have very good English, very fluent English. I'd say one of the most prominent variances is with syntax or word order. What does that mean? Well, our native language has a big influence on the way we think. And that's not just concerning what the idea is, but the order of what comes to mind first, what you say first, what you say second, and so on. So someone who was raised speaking Hindi might compose a sentence one way, but then someone who's from a Tamil background might shuffle it. And then Americans have still another way of arranging the thoughts in the sentence.
Yeah, so I think we tend to treat accent as this inherent problem in communication, but really the problem is often our perceptions of accents, right? And so the way that we can change our perceptions of different accents is really learning how to listen to different types of accents.